Good afternoon. I'm going to do Through the Prickle Hedge by Marion St.John Webb this afternoon. I'd intended to do it yesterday, but then I heard the cuckoo and that put me off. So today it's the 10th of April. So, Through the Prickle Hedge. While all the grown-up people sat and talked upon the lawn, we scrambled through the prickle hedge, and one of us got torn. And out into the lane we went, and past the willow tree, Aunt Matilda's children, Mr. Peter Dog, and me. We'd played about the garden, all the kind of games we could, and so we went along the lane and down into the wood. Just as we had got inside, and one of us looked round, a little girl we didn't know had followed us, we found. Her hair was black and straggly, and her dress was old and worn, and she only had one stocking on, and that was very tall. Who she was and where she came from, none of us could tell, and so when we stopped and stared at her, she stopped and stared as well. And one of Aunt Matilda's children shouted, "Hello, kid!" But she never answered anything, but stood and stared, she did. And Aunt Matilda's children said, "Perhaps she is a witch. Let's make a fire and burn her like they used to in this ditch." And they laughed and started picking sticks and threw them in a pile, and kept on singing, "Burn, old witch," and shouting all the while. I whispered, "Not a really fire, of course it's only play." But they shouted, "Yes, a really fire, don't let her run away." Then she pulled an ugly face at us and said, "You'd better add, my mother is a gypsy, and she'd be most awful mad. And if I call she'll hear me, she lives inside this wood." And all of us were still at once and looked at where she stood. Aunt Matilda's children whispered, "Let us run away. We mustn't talk to gypsies, they'll steal you if you stay." But the little girl was watching, and she said, "Oh, no, you won't, or else I'll call. Now what are you going to give me if I don't?" And all of us were quiet again. Then something made a squeak. So we gave her someone's brooch, and then we heard the bushes creak. So she took a coat, a hat, and Mr. Peter's collar. "And now," she said, "you mustn't tell, you promise, or I'll holler." Then Aunt Matilda's children cried, "It isn't fair a bit," and snatched their things away and said, "Come on, let's run for it." And all of us began to run as quickly as we could, and as we ran she started shouting through the wood, and some of us fell over, scrambled up and on again, and the wood was full of creakings, but at last we found the lane. Only some of us were crying, and we kept on looking round, but the gypsies didn't follow, and we couldn't hear a sound. Till nearly home we heard the grown-ups talking on the lawn, so we scrambled through the prickle hedge, and two of us got torn, and out into the garden just as quickly as could be. Aunt Matilda's children, Mr. Peter Dog, and me. There we go. It's one of my favourite poems of all time. Anyway, bye for now.